Welcome to Screen Chat. My name is Marcela Toro. We chat to film and television professionals about their experiences, stories, and wisdom. Today I'm joined with two extraordinary women from Media Mentors Australia, Denise Eriksen and Esther Colman-Hawkins. Welcome, ladies.
Yeah, well done.
There we go.
We do, well done.
Oh, well done. Now, it's just been an extraordinary time. How have you ladies been in this sort of current situation of things?
It's such a roller coaster. We set up our business in January, and so we'd started up all of these sort of live events, and we had plans for all sorts of things. And of course, then COVID hit. Yeah. And so, I mean, in some ways, we've been lucky because we didn't have much of a business model to pivot, to use that word. We're just starting. So we went, okay. So COVID's actually offered us a huge amount of opportunity in all sorts of ways. And some of it's been quite sad because people are hurting so much that they've come to us for help. But it's been a bizarre time. Don't you think, Esther?
Absolutely. And I think that we could have had this happen and given up and just gone, you know what, I'm going to claim job seeker and I'm going to sit around for a few months and wait for things to kick back in. And, you know, I don't think Denise and I, either of us, are particularly that person. And we were like, also, thank God, actually, we've been busy, because I think if I'd have been sitting around doing nothing, I would have become obsessive about sourdough baking. Whereas this way, I've managed to keep my baking obsession at a minimum. But we were really able to kind of just leap and try new things. Because I think against the backdrop of a global pandemic, if we have an idea and it doesn't work, it's really not a massive deal, like in the grand scheme of what's going on. Yeah. And I think that gave us a bit of freedom to really embrace everything that we could. And we're still doing that.
We're still doing that every day. We're going, we can do that. Why not?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you both had so much experience in this industry. I mean, over 20 years of experiences in this business. So I'm really, really curious, if you don't mind, just sharing some of those career experiences, maybe some highlights and what you've learnt along the way.
Denise, go on, you kick off.
That could take up 3 hours. So I mean,
I was going to say, settle in, get a cup of tea.
No, I won't. I won't be boring. I mean, and 20 years is delightful of you, Marcela, because in my case, it's a number of years, much longer than 20. But I started as a journo, and that's my sort of core skill is storytelling. And it's something that's held me in amazing stead throughout my career. Started in newspapers, went to radio and TV. Then I got into TV in London, news gathering again, and then moved into factual storytelling, and bloody loved it. You know, like I absolutely adore factual. I love I watch everything from low rent, Married at First Sight, which I think is brilliant, right through to sort of high-end doco series. But my career then took me, in the UK, I was working for Community TV as a deputy channel controller, and then I came back to Australia, or New Zealander by birth, and joined the ABC as head of Factual. And then I had 3 years there, and I went to SBS as head of production and development, and then went back to the ABC as head of current affairs. Then got completely fed up with the whole world of that. I mean, it's very stressful. My God, it's stressful. So I actually ended up being a production runner for Foxtel at the London Olympics, which was hilarious, because all I had to do was, get food for the crew. And that sort of led, and rather than go down and buy sandwiches, I actually decided I'd get a cooker and a barbecue and everything else and feed them properly. And that sort of led me into catering for a year for shows like, Top Model, The Voice, all sorts of other shows. And I could earn more back in telly, so I came back as a consultant. And all the way along to that, I've always had a training background as well, because I bloody love being able to help people achieve their aims and their goals. And so always, I mean, in parallel for 20 something years, I've run training around the world with SABC and BBC, ITV, ABC, TVNZ, TV, and recently in Vietnam, actually, at Ho Chi Minh TV. So, in a few words, long few words, I'm sorry, I've gone on and on, but that's me.
No, that's wonderful. And just we'll come back to what you specifically learnt in some of those areas. But Esther, I would actually love to hear about you. I'll just pop you on just a second. So there we go. Hello. I did it.
I love feeling like I've had a technical win. So actually, my very first job was as a staff writer for a magazine house, and I wrote whatever they wanted me to write. So I wrote for teen magazines, I wrote for kids magazines, I wrote for women's magazines. One of my favourite jobs was on a Friday morning, I would write the horoscopes. I am not a horoscope writer, but it was one of my jobs. And what it taught me was how to tell a story and how to connect to an audience, because what you write to go in something for Top of the Pops is so different to what you might write to go, God, I did articles for Canal Boat Weekly or something. Like I wrote for anything. And then I journeyed into radio and ended up in TV. And I didn't start off desperately wanting to work in TV, but when I got there, I loved it. I loved how fun it was. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved the fact that every few months I would move to a different project and I'd learn something new. And I do a great deal of development. So I've always worked in a mixture of production and development. And I really love watching a new idea kind of go through all of its various forms until it makes something that will work really well on screen. And I also, it's interesting actually, I was thinking about it. I have ended up in a little bit of a niche, and my niche is obesity programming. So I have either made or developed now 13 series about obesity. I'm actually genuinely friends with some of the world's leading obesity experts, because I've contacted them regularly for all these programs.
Yes.
And how cool is that?
Yeah.
I do not have a science degree at all, and yet I've sat in a lecture theatre with some of the world's greatest minds talking about the deep science of obesity. And that's an amazing, how cool is that?
Very, very cool.
Yeah,
definitely. So let's just go back to Denise. Denise, through those experiences, what did you really learn along the way? Can you give us some nice pieces of nuggets?
Sure. The other couple of jobs that I forgot to put in there is that I was an executive producer for Beyond Productions, making shows, and also for ABC News and Current Affairs, exec producing shows here out of Melbourne. I guess what I learned, I think the key thing is that you can tell any story if you set your mind to it, okay? So because everything that we do in our business is around telling a story, whether it's selling yourself, whether it's selling an idea, whether it's working on a show. Unless you can tell a story coherently for an audience who is receptive to your story and with great creativity, then you're not going to make it in our business, on any platform, in any genre. So there's that. But I also think the biggest thing that I've learned is that when I was an EP for ABC News, I was given the privilege of setting up a new show for fledgling journalists called Attitude. And it was back in the 90s. So, oh my God, that shows you how old I am. But anyway, blah, blah. And I was determined that that show started from scratch, the diversity of young Australia. So I was actually quite methodical about it. And I went out and got all the statistical representation of culture, race, gender, whatever, and created out of, we advertised, and I got 1,700 applications for that show from young people all around Australia. So anybody who says they can't find talent from a diverse background is talking rubbish. They're not looking hard enough. And what I discovered is that ever since then, I have always looked hard at teams that are represented.
Denise, we're just going to go and cut to Esther. You've just unfortunately cut out. Esther, can you hear me? We're just having some sound issues. Sorry, everyone. Denise, you back?
I'm back. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Where did we get to? Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. Sorry, we just had a bit of a lapse there.
So I was saying that I think that, it's what I've always vowed to create teams that are all and colours and creeds in this country. I think that's the other thing is that I'd say to people, the biggest is that it's not hard to find diversity if you pay for it. It's very easy not to find them if you don't bother. Manifested. But, oh my God, there's fantastic people. And I was saying I got one of my first hires for the program that we created at the ABC called Attitude, Pedersen, who's gone on to have the most extraordinary career. And we found him amongst a pile of 1,700 applications. I'm not sure how much of that you heard.
We got there in the end, Denise. Thank you so much. Esther, are you able to give?
You.
Oh, good, perfect. Esther, what about yourself? Are there any learnings that you've learnt along the way that you can actually share with us today?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The big one is if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, world, you can do if you decide you want to do something and you ask people, the time you can do it. It's like you know what, I'm not saying it's not hard because it really is. And he worked as what was called a celebrity booker for about 7 or 8 months. And it's a hard job because all you do is call agents, and in England, they're really rude. I had Sharon Osbourne make me cry. She was so mean to me. And the reason I was quite out at being a celebrity booker was because I just ask. And if people said no, that would be like I think I learned to roll with the nose. I learned to roll with the nose in development because so much of what you develop hasn't got a home on broadcast. And what I love about today's kind of media landscape is the fact that broadcast isn't the only platform. Like, yes, lots of us would like to see our ideas on TV, and that's a really great way of getting them out there. But there's so many other platforms. At the moment, I would really like to make a podcast because I love podcasts.
Yes.
And pitched what I thought was a really great idea with a friend of mine, and it got knocked back. And I'm still sort of like, I'm still holding on to the idea because I still really like it, but I don't know, maybe it's not right. But it's okay. Like, having knocked back is not the end of the world. It can change the world.
Yes. So because this industry is really revolves around relationship building and nurturing those relationships. So if someone wanted to come to you, Media Mentors, how could we start to build those relationships? Would that be an introduction from you to that person? From how does that look like?
No, we don't. They've got problems.
Oh, again, we're experiencing some some issues. Sorry, can you just repeat that again?
We don't normally do intro because we believe
Yes.
that we can empower people to themselves, right?
Yes.
Our mission, look, people are really smart, and if we give them a roadmap on how to do, they don't need to keep us around forever. So we help them find a way to get in. Now, the exceptions to that, we've had exceptions where there has been projects where that I could see, or Esther could see, a clear pathway to market. We will go and say, look, I'm going to find a producer if they'd like to talk to you about this project. But the whole core business is in people, okay? We know that people can do it, but they just haven't been given the skills. And so you could just go, yeah, hang on a minute, I'll just introduce you to Pete Green or whatever. But then they would think. So our whole business is to have people generate what they need for themselves, the core belief that we have in them. There's, we've yet to meet anybody, and we've met a lot in the last months, where we've gone to each other, oh no, we can't help, no way. Because we can.
Yeah. So when you say that you can help people, so you mentor the projects, you run basically a workshop, you build their self-confidence, you build their strong connections. So how do you get, say, a person, an individual, a foothold in the industry? So could you just walk through that?
Sure. I love the kind of the entry level people. I'll answer that one. What we do is we get them to find out what the industry is actually about. So if drama is quite siloed, which is quite siloed to animation, which is siloed to advertising. So we start off encourage, and we help people to go and find out about what the different jobs are. Once people have got an idea what jobs they want to do, then by showing them how to build a CV, that's a corporate CV is so different. CV if you want a job in TV, like they're completely different models. Send a corporate CV to a production manager, they just won't even, because it's not in their headset of how to. We teach people to network with people. If you're a runner, if you're an entry level, if you want to be a runner in drama, in say Melbourne, you can live. Every production manager who might in about a day, like, be blessed. that it's such an achievable thing, job. And we teach people how, okay, this industry doesn't advertise jobs. There's no, don't spend your time looking at not going to help. Spend your time in programs and Australian content. Know who's made what, you know, the kind of thing, so you can talk knowledgeably about the industry and then keep going. And one of the biggest is we're your cheerleaders. Like nobody's responded to your emails. We're like, you can do okay. And we also external accountability, because it's very easy. I mean, you're amazing, Marcela, because you
thank you.
You not only run a business, but you just as well. You're clearly like a really self-motivated person. And that's a blessing.
Oh, thank you.
People aren't. Like, most of us need a bit of external accountability to take it 20 days. That works, because it's that external account. Don't want to be showing up on a Tuesday. People go, oh, you did points this week. And not so judgy, but we are there to say, okay, a defined set of actions to take and a time frame. And if you're not doing them, why you're not doing them? And so often is people full of fear, like they think that or they don't deserve something. And we work really hard to help people change that thinking. And it goes back to what Denise said about, and those stories that we tell about ourselves are so important. And quite a lot of the with people is around working out a more useful story about yourself, so that you can have that you want.
Yes. Fascinating. Yeah, no, I agree. Accountability is number one. And thank you for those nice, are you flattering my head there? Thank you so much. Ladies, so I'm really curious just a little bit more around the fact that now it's during the COVID, maybe it's actually even better now that we're in this sort of situation. Unfortunately, it's a bad situation because of, the health reasons and so on. But now that we can really focus, we're a lot more calmer, we're working from home, we're able to, put down our goals. So maybe is it a little bit better now that people can actually, refocus and strive for our goals?
Well, I sort of think it is. It's a people because they're worrying about their income. I think, though, that what we've discovered is that something I've always held to be very close to my versatility in a career. It's enough learnings, if you like. I've always had this thing about never say no. It's led me in some gorgeous directions, some of them disastrous, but what I've always had layers of experience so that I can leap from one. And I think that when we're all having to be far more versatile, a great clip from a Melbourne producer who directed a play for PBS America from here in Melbourne. It had been filmed in the UK, and those are the sort of flexible models that we're going to have to embrace. And I think that's what we will find, that people are more flexible.
Yes.
And I think the other thing to come out of it is knock people's confidence hugely in their profession, their day-to-day routines. And I think that's that we're exploring with people as to how you keep confidence and self-belief when everything changing.
Yes. Sorry, we just got cut out with audio again there. But no, I totally agree. Confidence is number one. Oh, you're back. Yeah.
I am back. And it is about confidence, but it's also about being versatile. Summary, confidence and versatility. And in the mentoring that I tend to do, we often have people who at a certain level in, say, television production want to morph the program, say, a different platform into a different genre. So I'm often working with people skills and how they apply to those different morph a project into different platforms, and all the time to and actually people realize that how much skill level they have. Often we forget we've learnt so much that we didn't know we knew.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I it's such a fascinating industry. I'm always, curious to hear all the great insights and the experience and the wisdom. Now I'm just going to take it to the audience, and if anyone has a question, we've got some people on the line here at the moment. And Andrew Raven says, my favourite saying is, make your hurdle your stepping stone. So that's definitely a good one to say.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think we'll use that. I'm writing it down now, Andrew, so well done.
Yes, and Jova Lash Black says, couldn't have written successful funding reports without Denise's input. So that...
Oh, I love her. Bless. Thank you.
Anita Barnes says, accountability is number one. Love it.
Yeah. Because, and it's what we've done with, like, we're doing workshops at the moment for Screenworks. We just did one for the Launceston Freelancers Festival that was backed by MEAA and the Walk Please. Anything that we do in RMITV, we're doing one at the moment as well. To make sure that they are accountable, that they've got to come back. We're setting some really tough homework for the Screenworks one, and I hope they haven't got full-time jobs, because we're anyway. And accountability, yes.
So what's really interesting is that you actually have a live show with ACME. So that's fantastic. Can you tell us how that actually came into play? Because it's quite difficult to get that support so quickly.
We were so lucky, weren't we? When we started the business, we started with one event really called Make Conferences that we'd done with AFTRS, and we'd corrected conferences here in Melbourne. And out of that, we suggested that they funded a session once a month. And of course, COVID, we did 2 of them, and then COVID happened, and it was like, uh-oh. So we were we were working at ACME, and we said Esther came up with the idea of doing some micro skill sessions for our community at a time when everybody was hurting. And we were just chatting to the producer of the live session in the cafe. And we said, can you help? And they went, oh. And 10 minutes later, back and said, we'll record them, we will edit them, and you can screen them on the YouTube channel. And we went, holy hell. So we did 6 of them in 3 months. But then the lines, Film Victoria gave us a grant to do the live ones. And they're more national, and they're like, we want to be, we think about them as being really positive. We're really positive people, and we want to look ahead. So the first one we did pivoting production, particularly Channel 10. Then the last one we did was all of the heads of the commercial networks, the ABC, AFTRS and NITV were on it, except for Channel 7, and they've off till the end of the year. And this one we're doing next, God, we got such a shock. We asked the 9 heads of all of the funding agencies if they would like to take part, and much to my shock, they all said yes. So next Thursday, we've got every head of the funding bodies on, and they're great because then we have these network rooms where people can go off and talk more closely with panelists, and we love them, and they're a continuing resource because even though depends the audience tonight, it's almost immaterial, but we in perpetuity so that people can keep referring to them. Acme, oh my God, and Film Victoria, they're amazing.
We've got Elizabeth Parisi saying, inspiring women, love it.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. We love you too. You're awesome.
We also have Crystal Stevens saying, thanks. It's very interesting in film and television. My 15-year-old sister is actually studying film at school. Andrew Raven, Dennis and Esther have been so supportive in Creative Factual Workshop. We're doing, I feel blessed to have them as mentors. Lady Tours. There we go.
Oh,
thanks.
I'm gonna be weepy in a minute. Let's keep going.
So some great support. So you've got some, great show of hands there.
We love it, and people can talk to us anytime. We are always happy to chat.
Wonderful. Where can we find you?
We have a website, which is, oh God, here she goes talking about the bloody website, because she's much more than me. But our website is mediamentors.au, and we're on Facebook, on Twitter. We're on Twitter, aren't we?
We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're not on TikTok. We're both too old for it.
That's unfortunate. Okay. You're never too old to do anything in this life, I think. You can always...
Right, actually.
Let's break the storm.
Hello.
Let's get on there.
Absolutely. Oh, God. Oh, no, we won't go there. I love TikTok. But you're right. That's the other thing that we're finding, too, is that you're never doing anything. And God knows you're talking to one of the oldest people on the planet here. And I've learnt so many new skills in the last... including in desperation to learn to basically edit, and I don't sense it all on film. That's what it's called. I downloaded it because I was desperate to do stuff, and I did it, and I can't just it's really basic. Not edit it right, Marcela. Just bloody get into it.
Just exactly. I know. The same thing as me. I've never done editing before in my life, and this is the first time. So, and I've got this machine in front of me that I'm trying to navigate and maneuver, and it's. But you just got to get out there and do it, don't you?
Oh, no. I mean, one of my versions, this version is, and then the next version was, damn, I think I'm close. Every time I created a new of an edit, it was like, damned if I don't know what I went. I was terrified not to keep the things that I had left.
Here we go. We've got Jodie Haig saying, great info. We've got Brian Edmond, love Esther and Denise's positivity. So, yay.
Thank you. We try. And sometimes we go, is it Wednesday? Friday, because it's very Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
But we're winning. We're not going to let this COVID nonsense, beat us.
That's right, exactly. No. We need the positivity. Ladies, it was absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you liked this video, everyone, I would like you to give me a thumbs up if you'd like to watch more about these type of shows. And if you'd like to listen or to watch something in particular, let me know so I can have it your way. So, ladies, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Into our ACME YouTube work and has a look, because I'm sure there's 26 sessions we've got there. God, the must.
Yes, that's right. And you can find it on YouTube. So you run them every week live, don't you?
There's ACME YouTube, they're through the ACME, and there's 26 of them that we've already done. And the running free lives are the first of every month. So the next one's next week. Fun.
Wonderful. And who will you be chatting to then?
Oh my God, 9 of them, all of the funded. It's like, that was the group that I never thought everybody would say yes. And so I have, so wish me well.
Yes.
Because it's going to be like handling cats, I think.
Wow. Oh my God, I'll take my hat off to you. I haven't done that yet, but watch this space.
I know you will, Marcela. You're doing so well.
Thanks
for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and congratulations to you, ladies. Media mentors is fantastic. I think you guys have to mentor me too.
All right. Well, you know where we are.
Would
We're
love
always happy to help.
Thank you. All right, ladies.
Thanks so much, Marcela.
Bye. Pleasure. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.